Today we're adding a rock aquascape to the Juwel Rio 240 tank. I'm going to show you how I turned this heavily planted and fully overgrown fish tank into a rock aquascape with actual waves. We're going to cover everything from tearing down the old tank and removing all the hardscape to buying the plants, epiphyte plants and rocks, and putting it all together and setting up the new tank. Let's dive right in.
Now, before we start adding those beautiful black rocks that I showed in the intro of this video, we will have to tear down the old tank. Not really tear down, but make it ready for the new stones. And the first thing in that process is removing the floating plants. So I have tons of floating plants in this tank, mainly Amazon frogbit. Those are the large root formations that you see here in the center of the tank, and I'm just going to remove them and probably eventually throw them away. Also had to remove tons of duckweed, and you can already see the water clear up. Next, I will remove those small cryptocorynes. I have Cryptocoryne undulata plants in this tank. It's one of the 36 animal and plant species that lives in there. And I will speed up the footage here a little bit because this is a rather standard process. I had to remove them because the dirt accumulates around and below these cryptocorynes. I will add them back in later. And the same goes for this hardscape. So I had some beautiful yellow limestone in this tank. I added them more than a year ago to the Juwel Rio 240 tank. I mean, they look great, they look natural, they look a little worn out by time at this point. But I have seen them every day now for more than 1.5 years, and at one point you just don't want to see the same scape anymore. That's why I decided to remove the whole hardscape. And here you can see one of the black coolie loaches. They are usually pretty shy. I was glad that I saw one here today. And now that I've removed all of the hardscape, the next thing is to just siphon out all of the larger dirt particles of the tank. This is for me always a really nice process, and it's part of the joy for me in this aquarium hobby actually. Then I had to replant the stem plant here, which I think is called dwarf hygrophila, because I really want to create some space for those beautiful black limestones that we will add later in that whole rock formation. Now we need to give the tank some time to just settle down and clear up by itself, and then we can remove some more dirt basically. And what I also like to do from time to time is just removing the front layer, so just siphoning out the whole front layer of sand. And if you have white sand, this really changes the look of your tank entirely, because later we will rinse the sand just with plain water. You can see that the substrate layer is revealed here, and this is actually crucial. You shouldn't touch the substrate layer because we want the plant roots to anchor themselves in there again later on. If you would siphon that out, first of all, it would create a huge mess, and secondly, the nutrients would be taken out of the tank, which you don't want, right? We want the nutrient layer to be there as the solid foundation of this whole tank, and on top we will place the sand back later. But for now, I'm siphoning it out, and then we can go to the next and coolest step of this video.
All right, now that I somewhat cleaned this tank, it's time to add those new rocks and stones. All the old hardscape is taken out of the tank, the roots and the yellow stones that we had in there, and now these beautiful black and white stones are going to be added. I have two kinds of varieties. I have these thin ones that have these sharp edges that will provide tons of surface area for biofilm, and we have those large heavy ones which are going to look beautiful in the stream in this tank. And in the end, I'm going to add back the purified sand that I took out of the tank. Here you can see some more. I'm going to just wash them. I'm not going to cook them or anything. I'm going to just rinse them with plain water and then add them into the tank. Look at these beautiful rock structures here. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to just rinse them with plain water and then add them into the tank. And I think they're going to make a beautiful look and going to change the look of this tank entirely. let's do it.
Now, before getting these rocks in the local gravel plant, I wanted to show you guys what typical rock formations cost at a local fish store. So between 20 and 60 euros or like 30 and 90 US dollars. At a gravel plant, however, you can buy them not in kilograms or in pounds, you can buy them in tons, in metric tons. People come here with their trucks usually, but I just went there and bought one bucket full of them. Then I rinsed them, as I mentioned in the last step, both the slate stone and the limestone, and you can see the dirty water. So you definitely should rinse them when you get them, also because there are trucks and cars moving around out there, but there's nothing inherently bad or toxic with these stones. And then you can just take them and add them to the tank. And the main advantage is, of course, the cost. These rocks, I got like 10 large ones and like 20 small ones, I would say roughly. So let's say 10 kilograms, 15 kilograms worth of rock in a local fish store. This would have cost me, I would say, between 150 and 200 euros at least. And they don't even look as good as the ones that you get from the gravel plant. And in the gravel plant, they cost me actually 4 euros. 4 euros without sales tax. So I think net they earned 3 euros and 20 cents on these rocks. They weren't even aware that they sell rocks in buckets. This was very unusual to the workers at the gravel plant. But still I got them, and it wasn't even possible to pay with card there. You should have I should have brought cash because it was such a small amount of money. In the end, it makes my tank look amazing, and this is the result that counts, right? And if we can save some bucks here and there, that's always amazing. After adding the rocks, I added the AQQA wavemaker, which I wanted to add for such a long time, but there were just too many plants in this tank. I had to take out some of the plants first, and then I added the wavemaker, and it has a really nice magnet on the back of it. So you can just slide it onto the tank. You need to watch out a little bit because the magnet is extremely strong and it can hurt your fingers or even break the glass. So be gentle with it. Then the first test run of the wavemaker. I know the water is still a bit murky and dirty, but still I wanted to do one test run with it and see how strong the waves are. And if we have to maybe adjust it later on, or if we can leave it as it is. Now, the moment of truth, we will turn it on and you can see the guppy fish. They are not used to that kind of wave making. It will take them some minutes to understand that the waves come from this wave maker and to not swim directly into the current, because guppy fish, they are fine with swimming through currents, but this is probably too strong for them at the moment. But we will readjust it.
All right. Now I have added the first big black stones, and I must say they look pretty epic already without the smaller ones that we will add in a minute. And I've added the AQQA wavemaker. It was a present from my friends for my 30th birthday this year. It's already half a year ago, but only now I had time to finally install it. It looks pretty cool, but I'm not sure if I will keep it in there with the plants that I have. As you can see, the stem plants and also the Vallisneria australis gigantea on this side, they are already accumulating around this wavemaker, and they will rot and die after some time, I think. So maybe I will have to switch the position of the wavemaker. I wanted it to look like a typical beach or typical ocean, which I think it does. I mean, we will add some more sand and add some more details and some more plants to the rock formation. Then it will look really, really cool and epic. So it looks pretty cool, but I'm not sure if this is the correct or the right way to use such a wavemaker. If we take plant health and safety into consideration as well. But what I can tell is that the water clears up extremely fast because of that flow, that really, really strong flow, and the filter is not even turned on right now. So that is already a plus, I would say, about this wavemaker. But let's see how it looks in the end when we also have the tank fully filled with water.
One of my favorite steps is unboxing new plants and animals, and today I have bought 4 new plants, 3 new plant species and 4 new plants in total. So what we've got is 2 kinds of anubias. This time I got Anbubias Barteri, but the variety is Glabra, not Nana. Before I had Anbubias Barteri Nana, now it's Glabra. We have Java Fern and we have Bucephalandra. I got one of each of those two species, and it's super important while we are working with the plants out of the water to keep them wet the whole time. Now these plants are all special. They share one trait. They are not related. I think they are not even from the same continents, but they are all epiphytes or even rheophytes. What an epiphyte is, it grows specifically well on hardscape and specifically well on rocks actually. And rheophytes are another kind of special plant. They grow exceptionally well in strong currents and when they are growing on rocks. That's where they grow in nature, and that's where we will also put them. First step for me when prepping plants that are delivered in rock wool is always to take off that rock wool. Now, if you're new to the aquarium hobby, this is crucial. The rock wool will, I think it won't harm the plants in the long run, but it will definitely hinder their growth and slow down their growth. So you should take off all kinds of rock wool or whatever substrate they are kept in and be really, really diligent with that. I even take my tweezers to take off smaller chunks of it because it's hard to get off, and the roots usually anchor themselves in that rock wool. That's why they are used for that. I take off all the rock wool. After I've done that, I'm checking the plants for, let's say, good spots where to separate them. Every now and then I also spray them with my water bottle. And now it is important that you check for spots where you can separate them, where you end up with multiple small plantlings. Because what we want to do is we want to multiply those plants, right? We bought 4 plants initially, and in the end of this process, we will have 10, 15, 20 plants maybe. And with the anubias, this is easier than it looks. You just take your scissors and cut them apart. The Bucephalandra, it's a little more delicate, I would say, because they are just smaller and less sturdy plants, but even with them it works. And then we have the Java Fern, and with the Java Fern it's also pretty straightforward. You just cut it, but try to not cut off any leaves. Try to cut off whole plant chunks. They grow even faster than they would when you just put a whole chunk of plants in there, because they don't compete with each other anymore. And this is a simple hack to turn one plant into like 15 or 20 plantlings that we have here right now. The next step is also a little new to me. I use this Aquarium safe glue from ARKA. It's a brand that had pretty good reviews on the internet, so I just chose it. It cost I think €8, this small glue bottle. I got 2 glue bottles actually. And then I just put a small piece of glue, or small drop of glue, onto the rocks that we got, onto the slate rocks or slate stones. And then I press the plants on those glue dots and just wait. Now there you need to be a little patient. You just need to put it on there and maybe wear some gloves, not like me, because the glue will attach itself to your fingers and it's kind of tough to get it off later on. It won't hurt or anything, but it's just annoying. So maybe you should take some or wear some gloves. I didn't, but it would be better to wear gloves at this stage. Now it's kind of hard to put them just straight onto the rock like this because the plants are pretty heavy, and as long as the glue is not fully hardened, they will just fall off. Now it worked quite well with these 2 very straight rocks, but with rocks that are more rounded or have a rounder shape, it's impossible to do it that way. That's why I decided to do a different kind of strategy, to follow a different kind of strategy. I just put a huge chunk of glue onto one rock and put another rock on that root formation of the plants. What that is doing, it sort of pinches the plant roots between those 2 rocks. It's still fine because water can still flow around the roots, and this is important for these kind of plants. Epiphytes need constant contact to open water. If you add them to the soil, their roots will rot and the plant will die. And then I just did that process to all of the plants that I had. So I just glued them onto all of the little rocks that I had, and in some cases I pinched the rocks between those plants. Now that that whole process was done, I refilled the whole tank with just plain tap water. I mean, I did basically a 50% water change, more or less, during that whole process, and I just wanted to refill it with plain tap water And for my fish, this has never been a problem. I never have to treat the water with any kind of bacteria mix or something. I just add plain tank water, and I never had a single fish pass away during that process. While I'm doing that, I put those plants aside for those plants, or for the glue to harden basically, because I mean, you can glue them underwater, and according to the brand, to ARKA, this actually works, but I never really trust that too much, and I don't want to do it twice. That's why I simply decided to glue the plants on the open air, let it harden for like an hour, and constantly water the plants. Then I readjusted the wavemaker so it really flows onto this rock formation, and then I just removed some of these particles. But actually I noticed that it would be smarter to just add new sand onto that later on.
Alright friends, now after tons of work, the tank is finally filled up with water again. The wavemaker was adjusted a little bit, so it floats now onto these rocks. The rocks themselves, they look even more amazing now that we have the normal light situation of the tank, and now that the water is filled up completely. Now the water is still a little murky, that's normal. It will take roughly 1 day for it to clear up, but I think that's fine for now. And now the coolest part is going to follow. I will add all of the plants that I collected or that I prepared in the last step, where we glued them to the rocks, and we will now add them to the hardscape formation. And I really hope that they will just hold. I mean, I will press them between the crevices and the cracks of these rock formations, or of this rock formation, but still there's always the chance that they just will not hold. But I guess we'll figure it out in a moment. So let's try and put some plants in there.
You'll first add this little Anbubias Barteri Glabra plant. I glued it to this rather large rock compared to the other little rocks that we have, and I want to add it all the way on the right hand side here. Now, despite me gluing it to this rock, I still want to make sure that it holds perfectly, and that's why I push the rock towards the other rocks to just have it double secured basically. The next one is this Java Fern. That looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, wow, look at it. The Java Fern and this dark slate stone, they just, color-wise, they add up perfectly. The color is such a nice, I would say, color contrast. It's beautiful. I really hope that these Java Ferns will grow well. I had them in my other South America tank for like more than half a year now. They don't really grow there, but they also don't die. They seem to be in a steady state more or less. And if that is the case in this tank, that would be totally fine for me, but we will see over time. So make sure you're subscribed to my fish channel in order to witness how this goes on. And now I just did the same thing to all of the other plants and little plantlings that we prepared in the last step. And I must say it comes together so well. And now I add some more details and some more of the slate rocks and slate stones that we had left that weren't connected with plants. And I think the formation looks absolutely gorgeous as we have it at the moment. In order to work on it, I turned off the wavemaker. We will turn it on in the end and have a beautiful final look at it. But the intermediate state looks already great. Now I siphoned out tons of assassin snails, and it took me hours to separate them from the sand. Then I added them back here in this step, and also the Cryptocoria and undulata plants that we've taken out at the beginning of the video. I added them back at this stage here to set some more plant accents, and the result speaks for itself. One of the goals of this was to create a rock formation where the coolie loaches could hang out. They actually do. So you see one of the coolie loaches, I think it's Dyson, I can't tell from here, but I think it's Dyson, one of the 3 black coolie loaches that we added more than a year ago at this point. And they seem to enjoy it, really. And in the evening, I added some more sand. And now, the final moment of truth, guys. Let's turn back on the wavemaker and see and enjoy the final result of today's work. look at the Anbubias Barteri plants and the Java Fern on the bottom left, flowing in the water current. It's a mesmerizing and absolutely amazing moment for me. And the colors of the guppy fish, the yellow phantom tetras, our amber tetras, everything, it looks like a canvas, to be honest, like a painting, in my opinion. I'm very satisfied with the result, with how it came out in the end, and I hope you guys are too. Maybe we will have to readjust the wavemaker in the end still, but I must say the result as it stands right now is absolutely gorgeous. I don't want to praise my own work here. I mean, it's basically only the rocks, but these rocks are absolutely beautiful. At this point, I just want to take one little longer moment to say thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers on this fish channel. It's been a ton of work for the last almost 2 years now that I've been working on this channel. Thank you guys so much. This is not possible without you guys. It takes me a lot of time, effort, and also money to work on this channel. That's why it's so great that so many people of you decided to subscribe to my channel and to support me. And a special shout out goes to my channel members. We have now 9 channel members, 9 people who support me with a small monthly fee. Every month they get early access to my videos and get exclusive content, so posts and some videos for members only. It's the best way to support this channel next to sharing my videos, and I want to give a quick shout out to each of them. So thank you Dante, who just joined the Tetra gang. Thank you Michael, who's part of the Guppy gang. Thank you Ottercracker. Thank you Yoshi. Thank you Ryder Cedric. Thank you JVP. Thank you Dottie. Thank you Julius. And thanks to Belgium Bugs. The last 2 have been with the channel membership for more than 9 months now, which is absolutely amazing. 9 months of continuous support. I couldn't wish for a better community. Thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you would love to see how I originally set up this tank more than 1.5 years ago on the right hand side, or check out the video on the left hand side. Thanks for watching.